And welcome to another Round the Rotary podcast with me, your host, J.P. Warren. And this is actually a pretty special podcast we're doing today. We're having dinner here at the Capital Petroleum Consultant's office, and we decided why not do a Halloween special because Halloween is coming up. And we're all big Halloween fanatics. Let me announce who we have in the studio today. We have a good buddy of mine, Jacob Voss, who is the drilling engineer supervisor at ConocoPhillips. And also, sitting to my left, we have my better half, the one that you may have heard her music in the intro and outro of Around the Rotary podcast, my beautiful wife and talented wife, Monika Leigh Warren.
Hello.
How are you doing today, Monika?
I'm excellent.
Well, before we begin, I think I'm sitting here in full makeup and...
You have no makeup on.
Well...
Jake has makeup on.
Jake's got the guy liner on, but I got... Okay, this is a little bit better. All right, now we can start talking. So anyway, this is the Round the Rotary podcast special. Ooh. And you know what? This actually kind of fell on perfect time too, Jake, because in the news in this past week, we've heard of the huge deal right now that's hitting the headlines of the oil and gas industry, which is the merger between Conoco and Concho. But we're not here to talk about that today.
Thank
We're here
goodness.
to talk about horror.
Why am I here then?
We're here to talk about horror movies, that's why. I brought Monika and my wife because she is a self-proclaimed horror guru.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That is a fact.
And you pretty much you're one of those psychos that watches scary movies by themselves.
Yes, I am. And I woke up this morning and the first thing that I put on was Cape Fear. Do you remember that movie?
Oh, whoa. That's Robert De Niro's in there, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes. Juliette Lewis.
You put that, okay,
Uh-huh.
all right.
That's how I started the day.
And where was JP?
He was actually setting up here, cleaning
okay.
and getting ready for today.
That's right, we got to work on a Saturday. There's no weekends or holidays in the oil field. Well, Jake, I think we have to just give us a quick background because I want to dive into the good stuff.
Alright, started in the industry in 2011 and been with Conoco the whole time. Kind of bounced around from Alaska, where I was from, and ended up in Houston about 3 years ago, right around the time Hurricane Harvey hit.
So actually, that's how we can kind of get kicked off. So the first time I met you, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was at it was a Rockets game, right? And you told me that you were from Alaska.
Oh yeah.
And what's the village?
Barrow.
And that's where what documentary was filmed?
30 Days of Night.
30 Days of Night, the vampire movie with Josh Hartnett. Is that right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Okay. Well, is that how you kind of fell in love with horror movies and that type of stuff?
No, that's going back to like Halloween, Friday the 13th. So my cousin, we live in Teacher Complex. That's where my folks, how they ended up in Alaska. So they live 10 feet down the hall. And we go over to our type of Blockbuster, which was a little almost shack that had movies, and we go rent all the old classic scary movies.
Wasn't that the best back in the day? Like going to like the video store and looking at like
I loved that.
looking like at the horror covers and like the creative like artwork and like the creepiness of it. Like that's kind of what drew me in on it.
And that's how you pick the movies. It was based on the art on the actual either DVD or VHS.
Oh man, there's so many good ones. It's on that. Yeah, I remember going to the video store when I was a kid too. It was always a good time.
Oh yeah, unless you got the movie home and then you saw that it wasn't rewound, and then you're like, oh, this is going to be forever.
Oh, you remember the automatic tape rewinding machines?
We weren't that fancy.
Well, we weren't too, but I heard about them growing up. We didn't have those in Connecticut. All right, so I guess let's get this kicked off. And Monika, so why are you so into horror films?
I have no idea. I don't know what happened to me as a child, but I just remember. I just remember being young, and my dad would always try to send me upstairs so he could watch horror movies, and I would sneak downstairs, and I'd watch the entire thing, and I loved it. I think it was the first was Dracula, Bram Stoker.
Okay. Oh, that's with Johnny Depp, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Gary Oldman.
Yeah, Winona Ryder, and I don't know. There was definitely just this appeal, just the horror movie and being scared and. What would you do? The survivalism.
You know what's funny? That whole survivalism thing. I mean, we just watched was it Alive, #Alive, whatever you want to call it on Netflix, and like I thought that was really good because that like shows you like kind of what happens like during like a when shit hits the fan all of a sudden when there's a zombie outbreak.
Oh,
and it just like didn't have enough supplies and just kind of went through. I mean, most people are like, oh man, I'll just grab a bat and go swing at some heads. But man, I don't know about that. I mean, you like to say that you would, but if that stuff's happening,
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that. Jake?
I haven't seen it, but you'd almost think after quarantining and having the stay-home orders, people would have a little bit more supplies. So
Right.
maybe I just don't see what toilet paper's going to do in the zombie apocalypse.
I don't think it'll do much unless you light them on fire and throw them at them. But all right, let's get this. So Jake, so Monika, you're a musician,
Yes.
right? You want to give us a little background on that?
Man, okay, so I started when I was 12 from my stepdad. He was actually sort of the music mentor in my life. And thank goodness my dad and my stepdad got along, so there was never any tension.
Well, talk about your stepdad. I mean, you're what I'm picturing is this Mr. Holland's Opus, this nerd walking in with glasses and a pocket protector. I mean, like a composer.
Oh my gosh! So when I first met him, it was so embarrassing. He's British, but he grew up in Turkey. So he did a lot of boarding school and that kind of thing. So when I first saw him, he is like 5'1".
All right.
He had long hair just right above his chest. And
Like us, Jake.
kind of. And he was very in shape, and he would wear the shortest shorts.
Okay.
That the butt cheeks would hang out.
This the 80s?
This was the early 90s, but I guess that was like the look, because I remember even telling my mama, I think he might be into men. I don't think that he's like into women. And she would laugh, knowing that he's trying to date her. But no, that was just the look at the time. So there wasn't too much respect for this man when I first met him. But oh my gosh, he was definitely a force to be reckoned with.
So he kind of got you set up with the guitar, started teaching you Texas blues and all that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was the one that kind of got my foot in the door. I started playing in clubs when I was young. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Like 13 years old playing in clubs?
You
We don't have to talk
don't
about
you
that.
set me up for failure. You already know.
So Jake, how did you get involved in? You also play. You pick the strings, right?
Occasionally.
Occasionally. So how did you get started in that?
Kind of parents there in elementary school put me in piano class, and being up in Alaska at the time, we were very fortunate to have an amazing musical director. So he taught 6th grade all the way through 12th. Started playing the saxophone then, and
You played the sax?
I did.
Dude,
That's awesome.
I always wanted to play the saxophone. But you couldn't get into the brass band until like 6th grade. So 5th grade, I chose. I believe it down here you call it the fiddle, but we call it a violin, a proper violin.
Can you still play?
No, I can't.
I can't play the saxophone either.
Okay.
Well, not anymore. But no, my uncle, same one that kind of lived right down the hall, he'd always play guitar and stuff. And let's see, I guess it was my freshman year in high school. My brother learned how to play guitar in college, and he came back and was like playing for us. And horrible. He knew 2 songs: the Sweater Song from Weezer and Safe Tonight.
That's a great
Eagle-Eyed
song.
Cherry.
Okay.
And
Safe Tonight. I can imagine dude jamming on the guitar like at an after party. You're like, put that away, bro.
So Thanksgiving, I'd always go and spend the week with him, and him and his buddies, they kind of had it strategically placed, so they'd have these big house parties.
Yeah.
By the end of the night, some girl would be like, "Oh, who plays guitar?" And he's like, "Oh, I do."
I guess let me just bust it out real quick.
And he'd play these 2 songs, and I'm just like, "Gosh, this is embarrassing." And next thing I know, those 2 are hanging out the rest of the night. And I'm like, maybe that is the trick. So,
See, I feel like I would, if I ever picked up the guitar, it would definitely be why the majority to get girls. You know what I mean? To get girls.
Well, probably. I mean, that definitely was my motive at the beginning, but I had always grown up with music. I mean, we had one radio station where I grew up.
Okay.
And half the time it was National Public Radio. The other time it was kind of the native drums and music
The
and
tundra
everything.
music.
Tundra drums. Is what they
Right,
called
tundra
it.
drums.
So, yeah, grew up on the Eagles, Jackson Browne, all the classic stuff. And
So we actually had a pretty good time. What was that, 2 years ago? When y'all invited us to go to Austin with y'all to go see Fleetwood Mac. And
Oh
you had
my
a
gosh, that
surprise
was
for us.
amazing.
Where you actually signed us up to meet Mick Fleetwood.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, my folks had to back out, and I thought, who would be the 2 people that would want to go and enjoy this as much as
We
us?
love you.
So I guess, I mean, so you're stuck on the classic rock. I mean, Jackson Browne, the Eagles, Fleetwood Mac,
But then it was everything else. I mean, let's see, as embarrassing as it sounds growing up, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC were big, Britney Spears, so my cousins and I all listened to that, but then, we listened to rap, kind of just everything. And I guess as I started playing more music, I realized how much I enjoyed the singing songwriting portion of it. And that's when I got introduced about junior year to Texas country. So Randy Rogers, Josh had a band.
So do you do anything with this besides just play it at the house and jam out?
So in college, ended up me and one of my good buddies, Jake Miller.
He's a listener.
Yeah, he is. He actually works for Kraken. So.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Jake Miller.
We went to see Merle Haggard in college. Had a great time. Got a little sauced up, and that night we were sitting at a bar and started writing songs. If we ever had a band that we would play.
Aww.
And the next day he called me and said, "Hey, my other buddies, he's a lead guitarist and a bass player, and so
it's kind of like, hey, let's do this.
Let's do it." And the first day, it was almost like magic.
What was the band name?
Mama Tried.
Mama Tried?
Haggard.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like that.
That's
All of us were Mama's boys, so played in a college band all throughout college, and then here recently, kind of on an eight-year hiatus, and our friends all started getting married. So the one gal who was kind of our band manager ended up saying, "Hey, why don't you guys come up, and it'd be cool if you two got to play a song."
Right, times are tough. We don't want to spend money on a DJ or a real band. Let's get the band back together. Let's get these guys.
We surprisingly got the whole band back together.
Okay.
After that, everyone else for every summer. So we were just up in Montana about a month and a half ago, and we went and played. So
you're kind of on tour a little bit.
a little bit.
A little bit.
The 2 nights that we get to play. So
Yeah, but that's got to be
awesome.
such a cool experience going to a wedding. It's like your friends up there jamming for you.
Oh
You
yeah,
know what I mean?
You pick up right where you left off, and we were all nervous, like, man, we haven't played in 8 years, all this stuff. But every one of us was an engineer and grew up, with a musical background and stuff. So, I mean, it was a little rough after cracking a few beers. Next thing you know, everything kind of starts coming back together. So,
Well, Mama tried and looks like Mama succeeded. So
It
she should be proud of you. So Monika, tell me about your first couple bands.
Oh my gosh.
And you play primarily guitar.
Yeah. So
I love
started,
learning about you on this podcast. I love learning about my
because you
wife
don't know anything.
around the Rotary.
That's right. I started on drums. That was my mom put me in lessons, and I wasn't really feeling it. So then she transferred over to hand drums, the djembe and all that,
Okay.
congas, all that.
Okay.
so you're a percussionist.
Yes, which is why I'm always beating on your leg when music is going. That's
It's always a little bit off, but that's the
It's
inside
never
joke,
off.
that's the inside joke we
It's
have.
never off. And then I when Leo came around and he taught me about 3 chords, and I took those 3 chords and I think I wrote 4 songs.
Really?
Yeah. And then I think he was probably my first band, but we didn't have a band name. It was just we would perform.
Okay.
But my first band was actually Siren. I was 16.
Okay.
That was a fun one. I'm actually friends with Michael on my Facebook still, and I always wondered if that was ever going to try to pick back up again.
The band.
The band. And then the second one was Soul, S-O-L. And that was a fun one too. That was more of like when Gwen Stefani came out.
Oh yeah, it's very empowering and for the 90s
It was like
women.
a very ska reggae
Right.
sound. So I had a blast with that one. And then blues, blues has always just been
Yeah, you play was it Texas blues you define it?
Texas blues. It's predominantly there.
Well, JP, what band were you in growing up? Well, I'll answer that for you guys since you guys didn't ask me. 4th grade, Mac DeVito, a
Wait,
fellow
but we
Horton
know you.
enthusiast.
This is why we didn't ask.
Nobody knows me on the podcast. In 4th grade, Mac DeVito, who actually will be brought up several times in this podcast, just because he is my grown up best friends, horror music. We started a band, right? He had a bass guitar, and I had like this little Casio keyboard. We were called the Fortune Tellers.
That's a good name.
What did y'all play?
We played in his room on the ground,
But
like.
what music?
Fortune tellers. Something like
Yeah.
a Blue Oyster Cult like tribute, I guess, if you want to call it that.
DeVito, we love you.
So now we're on the music path of this podcast. We're talking music and movies today. All right, that's what we're doing. All right, the music and macabre. All right, and because the Halloween special. All right, and Halloween this year is probably different than any other year because of everything that's going on right now. So I think we need to bring, you know, the older generation, our generation, the younger generation together with some really good horror movie discussions. Right?
I'm for it.
I'm game.
Let's start off with this. You wanted to bring it because music's so important to you, and to you is the 5-song soundtrack of your life. And at first I thought, when you texted me this morning that you want to talk about this, I thought it was like top 5 songs. So why don't you just start, and then you can go, Monica, and then I'll just kind of chime in at the end.
I was actually going to put you on the spot and let you go first.
Well,
Yes, Jake, I concur.
so this is a test of critical thinking right now.
Yes.
So it's a soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. It won't be a soundtrack. This will be kind of like I guess a genre stage of like different periods of my life. I guess the first one would be Depeche Mode, that I can remember really getting into. All right. Then it would have to be, I guess it would have to be Van Halen. All right. Big, Boston, Van Halen, those guys. Blue Oyster Cult in high school was big, just because DeVito was into it too. So it was kind of something we got into.
Aww.
Then I kind of started dabbling a little EDM, a little techno, all right, when I started studying abroad. All right, I feel like I imported techno into the U.S. back in the early 2000s. That's my claim to fame. That and sushi. Like you said, you brought sushi in from Alaska. I say I brought in techno from Europe. And then it'd kind of have to be, I mean, I've been a huge fan of Monika Leigh since I met her 5 years ago.
Aww,
She's a musician.
Well done.
Well, not only that, the reason I did that also, and I said that, is because no matter if I'm in trouble, this is online. This is permanent. I'll just play it. I'll be like, babe.
I'm your number one fan.
It's on the multiple.
You're never in trouble.
On the multiple.
Ever.
So, man, it'd be pretty tough, man. But I'd have to say a couple songs in the past couple years that kind of stuck out to me is Van Morrison and the Mystic, Bruce Springsteen, Thunder Road. I used to sing those 2 songs to Evelyn when she was a newborn. Yeah, she used to call it the Thunder Song. I really dig your song, Fire.
Thank you.
And
That was written about Leo, my stepdad.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, besides that, I mean, it's kind of, I mean, man, I'm a 80s rock and roll type of guy. You know what I mean? I dig the 70s, obviously, Black Sabbath, early stuff. Actually, it was my parents' second date was, I think, I went to see Black Sabbath. First date was Tina Turner.
Oh, really?
Fun fact.
Mm-hmm.
Now
So-
we're learning stuff about JP.
But it's not about me, it's about you two.
It's about all of us.
So Jake, why don't you take the mic right now on this the 5-song soundtrack of your life? Go.
So I texted it to you thinking I would have 5 songs, but kind of like you ended up doing the genre thing as well.
It's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's like, what food would you have the rest of your, or like what's your like favorite song ever? It's like, man, music to me, it's like depends how you feel that day.
Exactly. It's all
You know
about
what I
the
mean?
mood.
Yeah.
And right up into this, quarantine, get a lot of time to think at the house and stuff. But running on empty Jackson Brown,
Mm-hmm.
working, rotation, all this stuff, and you're going 100 miles a minute at the time. It seems like that one. And I drove all the time from college, and then especially down to the rigs and everything else. So that was one that when I was driving down.
Are you still a music guy in the car, or have you turned into a podcast
no,
or a Audible Books guy?
It depends. If we're on a long road trip where I know we can finish it,
Yeah.
I'll do the audiobook.
But if not, if it's a short commute, it's music.
Well, the only podcast I listen to is Around the
Around the
Rotary.
Rotary.
Yeah, I've listened to like all 133 that you've done.
I've done like
Wow.
43. But
Yeah,
okay.
43. You didn't hear me. I said 43.
I'm not the engineer. I'm not the one that's good at math. So anyway.
Against the Wind, Bob Seger.
Ooh, that's good.
It is.
That's
Think
good.
about it. So
Ooh, one thing that we've been doing, I've been just jamming out lately, Cats in the Cradle with Evelyn.
Oh, she loves that
Oh, I've been
song.
explaining that to her, being like, and like sometimes it's funny, like I'll say like, hey, do you understand why that's going on? She'll look at me, she goes, yeah, Daddy, Cats in the Cradle. I'm like, I don't think you know what that means, but I dig it.
It's cute.
Yeah.
I dig it.
And she loves kitty cats, so
Yeah.
that's probably another reason.
It works.
But yeah, let's see. So got a new nephew and another kind of niece, more cousin, but we call her the niece, Sweet Baby James.
Ooh.
Play that to them when they're going to bed and stuff. So that one's like, that was what our uncle used to sing to us when we go to bed. So, and then as far as the genre, like you said, it kind of went into the mood.
Yeah.
And the thing I was going to kind of lead that into is, do you remember the last mixtape or CD that you had to do?
Ooh.
And when you put it in, you immediately realize, like, oh yeah, I remember making that.
I remember the last mixed CD that was given to me, and I do remember that, and every song on that brings me back to where it was. I mean, it was like every single song, but I remember the troubles of mixtapes and mixed CDs.
Well, I've never made any of them.
Really?
I've never gone through that. I've never.
You never had Napster because Aunt had to put it together on
No,
your CD?
no, but I remember having friends and stuff give me like the best of the best during that
Well,
time.
what would be your genre?
Genre?
Yeah, before we get into mixtapes, because this is a great point.
Well, I was the one that did the homework here, so I like literally like was listing out like my life.
Okay.
So I think the first one would be U2, Beautiful Day.
That was our song when we were walking out of the chapel when we got married.
It was very cool. My second song would, oh man, I forgot. The second one would be, I'm gonna skip the second just because I can't remember.
Could be Psycho Killer?
Oh, it is Psycho Killer by Talking Heads.
Brownie points.
Yes, oh my love. So that was me and my dad's favorite song. So we would play that over and over.
Alright.
The third one would be 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah, that's your favorite band.
Downward Spiral. That is my favorite band in the whole world. Fourth song would be Swimming Pools by Kendrick Lamar.
Okay.
That song is on repeat in my car. Literally.
Beautiful song.
And then my last song would be Bob Marley, No Woman, No Cry.
I dig it.
That is
I
the
dig
soundtrack
it. Yeah,
of my
I dig
life.
it.
I took you from birth to where I'm at.
You kind of covered it all. So, I mean, so you never actually had to deal with making
I've never
mixtapes.
done that in my life.
First off, before CDs, there was tapes. I don't know if you know that, Jay.
Oh, I did. I ruined a lot of tapes trying to
The
do
thing
one
is, though,
mixtape.
now, I feel like people these days, if you want to make a mixed tape for someone, you can really make them like a 4-day long like collection of music where you don't even think about. Back then, like mixtapes were big. Like you have to think about the song title, and you have to think of the lyrics in the song. You have to mash it up, kind of playing like what's going to be the and it was like a double tape deck. You had to at the same time press down
That was
on
a
the
good sound
buttons.
effect.
See, that's
In the
fancier than
headphones, it
us.
sounded
It was
good.
wait by the radio until it came on.
Yeah,
it was in recording.
Yeah, then you always catch some of the DJs like, to the mattress store for all your mattress needs, and here's Van Halen Bounce. It's like, I don't want this. Yeah, but you have to find one. That was a tough one. Mix CDs got a little bit easier. But still, you had to match up. I mean, because they're always for a girl. You know what I mean? They were always for a girl.
Unless it was like the summer mix for the boys, something like that.
Wow, I mean, then it's
Knowing you, yes, you're like, hey, best
Hey,
friend.
we're all gonna get in the car. Like, we gotta have a road trip
We're all
song.
getting into the jacuzzi. I made this for you.
No, but I mean, mixtape. You don't make mixtapes for the boys. You make mixtape for your car.
Predominantly.
For your car.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
For your car.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you want to like sneak the hint and like, hey, I dig you.
Hey,
You slide
hey,
in a mixtape.
baby.
Yeah.
That's cute. Would
So-
you have made me a mixtape?
Oh, absolutely.
What would be on it?
It would be on a lot of songs would be on it. A lot of very sweet. I feel like emotional,
Take your breath
heartfelt.
away, Berlin. Come on.
Yeah, like just Otis Redding,
Oh.
like just like some nice songs. And actually, speaking of Otis Redding, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay came on one time a couple months back, and I looked at my wife, and I looked at Monika, and I looked at her, and I said, hey, like my mom used to make me come downstairs and play this song over and
Oh
over
man,
and
are you
over.
doing this?
And
Oh.
she's like, oh my God, really? And I was like, wait a minute, time out. You know that's from a movie, right?
He's calling me out.
And she goes, she's like, yeah, I knew that. I'm like, what movie? She didn't know. I was like, Top Gun. She goes, okay, I have a confession to make. I'm like, oh shit, what's going on? She's like, all right, I've faked it till I made it when it comes to Top Gun. I've never seen it, but I've
I've never
always
seen
acted
it.
like I've seen it.
We did.
We
Well,
did it.
we did.
We did it at your
After
house.
that,
yes.
so after that conversation, then he tells you, and you're like, we're doing this. You guys are coming over. We had a great movie night. And
Was.
it actually was me and Teresa that were like super immersed with this movie.
I failed as a husband not knowing that you'd never seen it. So.
So what other secrets are you keeping from me? That's next time. All right, let's get into the horror
There's
movies,
only
guys.
two.
Let's get into the horror movies. I remember. So speaking about DeVito, I remember we actually recently purchased all 8 Friday the 13th.
Yes.
Yeah, we purchased all 8. 'Cause
so
I remember
good.
growing up, like DeVito and I, we'd ride our bikes to Blockbuster. I mean, you'd only rent out 3 or 2 at the time, and we would get 2. And we'd watch some in the afternoon, ride it back, and watch some in the evening. So we'd always have so Jason Voorhees would be my number 1, like nostalgic like killer. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like the
okay.
horror movie killer. He was my number 1. You know, like back then.
All right.
So let's talk about the genre.
Michael Myers, man.
Really, Halloween.
Yeah, that one really got us. That was kind of, that.
What was creepy about him? Just
he was always there and he never tried to be.
he was always pure evil.
Yes.
Yeah, he would show up, like, people would be running, and then there he is.
The other one was Chucky.
Kind of like In-Laws. Chucky, yeah.
My great aunt, this is horrible babysitting, but my great aunt recorded Chucky and Jaws and Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
We just watched Killer
that.
Clowns about 2 weeks
It's
ago.
so good.
So we were 4 years old watching that. And she was just like, oh yeah, you can put the movie on. But like, we'd be awake all night, just like, I don't want to go to sleep, you want to go to sleep.
And you're sitting in a room full of dolls, you're like, wait, you saw Chucky?
Yes.
Exactly.
And
Just
Jaws. I remember Jaws used to scare me. I didn't want to take baths.
Never watched Jaws.
Really? Oh, or if I went swimming in a swimming pool, I had this weird imagination that if I was in the deep end, that there would be a shark. And I just remember keeping that.
Curl up your toes, hoping they
Oh,
don't
it was
bite 'em.
terrifying. Like,
See, that's the thing, man. Like, I feel like ocean movies or like cave movies, they do more to like bore me out than they do to scare me. You know, like The
You
Descent.
get
Like,
claustrophobic though. Like you're the type of person that.
I tell you that when you're yelling at me. I'm like, I'm claustrophobic, I need space.
He's never said that, but this is yeah. He's going to
That's
starting
what the
from
listeners
today.
say.
And
I'm claustrophobic, I need space. So wait, going back in the day, there was a lot of horror movies, a lot of huge like 70s, 80s, like really good horror. I mean, I think they started experimenting with like all the gore and like the body count, like and the ways they kill people. Friday the 13th would be my go-to, back in the day. Like that, I love the idea of like kids going out camping. You know what I mean? Everyone's having fun, but there was always those stereotypes. You know what I mean? There was the party girl, the geek boy, like the too cool for school cat that was like, you know what I mean? Like, there's always rules. You know what I mean? I know they talked about this in Scream, Scream was a great resurgence of horror genre.
Slasher flick, man.
Yeah.
And you look at what they did there and kind of rejuvenated it, I guess, just because you had Jason 19 when he's in outer space, and it's like,
oh, that was crazy, right? It got really bad.
Horrible.
It did. But then, it's like, as I grew up, were the movies always that crappy? And then you go back and rewatch it, like, no, they're still like the original thing, and especially the twist there at the very end. Just don't want to have a spoiler alert for the original Friday the 13th.
I think you can, no, first off, it's 2020. If you haven't seen a movie made, in 1978, that's on you.
Our Wives?
You've seen it?
I've seen it.
Well, Top Gun.
Oh man, Jake! Oh, right
Sorry,
in the
sorry.
heart.
Jake, trivia. What is Jason Voorhees' mother's name?
I know.
Monika.
No, her name's not Monica.
No. I'm getting on to tell.
Pamela Voorhees.
Pamela Voorhees, that is correct. So do you think you would you'd survive one of those camp sessions? And why not?
Now, yes. High school Jake, no.
Okay, why not? Why not high school Jake? Which guy were you in the horror movies?
Oh, the ones that was just out there to camp and have a good time.
The one,
Not the
The
one
party.
that like
the one
would
busting his
read the
guitar out.
sign.
Mm-hmm.
Not reading the signs of like, oh, there's a creepy shed right there, and the lights keep going on and off. I would have been oblivious to it.
That would be your make-out spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go in
That's
this
too
graveyard.
good.
And yeah.
I would have been. I actually researched this. I think his name was like Shelley Finkelstein or something like that. He was in Friday the 13th Part 3. He was like the
For
kind
the
of
mask.
yeah. That's when he first got his mask in the Part 3 and Chapter 3. Excuse me, but like I would have been him. He was the guy that was like the goofy one, always like pulling pranks to like get laughs at, but like could never like. You know what I mean? Like all the other ones are like out there like hooking up, like and obviously that leads to their deaths. I would have been the guy like doing silly pranks, and be like, "Why do no one likes me?" And then I would got like hacked,
Yeah.
probably taking a leak outside or something.
You remind me of the guy who actually explains the rules in Scream.
Oh, I'd be that guy.
Kennedy.
I'd be
Yeah,
that
he
He's
guy.
was-
kind of
be
a
that guy.
prankster, but like take it serious enough.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Okay, well I was going old school horror movies, but I'll take that. Who would you be?
I plead the fifth, but
Oh gosh. We'll edit that out
so why?
because you're
I'm the
right.
survivor,
Okay. All right. So how would that play in the fit?
James.
So you'd survive in what ways?
Well, mainly because I've watched so many horror movies that I know what not to do. So every time that we do something, I'm always like, I'm ready. I'm
You know-
alert. I'm on the lookout. I know what to look out for. Very observant. But I have to say, I feel like I'm gonna get on a soapbox.
You're on a
But
soapbox.
So talking like through all the horror genres that are out there, there's such a plethora of different terrifying things. So you have the slashers, you have the devil possessions, the paranormal, you know, the ghost, all these kinds of different terrifying avenues. But honestly, I think for me, the thing that made it most scary, and this is why, because if you were having a haunting in your house, or a doll is possessed, or if your wife or somebody you knew all of a sudden is having demonic episodes, there is a number of resources out there that you can try to fix it. They have all these ghost hunters, and they have all these priests for, you know, X, Y, and Z during these hauntings. But the one thing that really messes with my head would be the sci-fi, the aliens, because there isn't, there's no validation for that type of scary thing to happen. And, you know, you've heard people that have been abducted and this, that, and the other, but I think for aliens, that for me is the most terrifying thing. So, hands down, aliens, the whole, whatever that is, the
extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I mean the with Sigourney Weaver, that whole.
Oh, aliens.
That whole it wasn't a trilogy; it's a lot more than 3, but.
The good ones were 3.
Yeah.
You could maybe throw Alien Resurrection.
But all of them, I became Prometheus. Like I just became so engulfed and immersed with this whole genre of movies that I was terrified when Alien came out and I watched it for the first time. That scared the shit out of me.
Right.
Because there's no resources. So if you have a friend that's like, oh, I'm gonna, not that we have any, but if that ever happened,
We do have friends.
that got abducted by alien.
Oh.
That you don't know about.
That I don't know about yet.
Invasion
If
of
you're
the
out
Body
there,
Snatchers.
if you're out there, I'll be your friend.
Actually, fun fact, the role of Sigourney Weaver in Alien was actually not written as a boy or a girl until, I guess, someone was cast in it, and that's when they kind of filled that role.
Okay.
And I think all the other roles too.
Is that true?
We don't have the internet in here, but I'm gonna say it's true, and if it's
He
not
likes
true,
to just make stuff up,
if
so
it's-
I never know.
and if it's not true, this is fact check me. I don't care.
Interesting fact, it might have not been a cat, it could have been a dog, but, you know.
Well, yeah, fact check me.
I mean, they're going on the species. They wrote the role after they, you know, cast.
Well, what would be your scary town genre?
A scary town genre.
Like, what movies creep you out the most?
Man, the stuff that's actually kind of hits more home. So like the say something that you definitely see happen in real life. Maybe the serial killer one, or like the person next door, that, you know, Ted Bundy style and stuff.
Inconvenient truth.
Social
So
dilemma.
so much so, yes. But no, it's funny. You go back and you look at Terminator and like technology taking over the world and stuff, and you keep hearing some of these things about AI, how great it's going to be, and then you're like, well, all it does is take one.
It takes
One
one
to have a brain
Skynet.
for
It takes
itself,
one
yeah.
Skynet.
So.
Skynet.
That's so, yeah. But, you know, actually, Monica, we can kind of get into this. I've always, so, like, we'll watch, like, these, like, what are they, paranormal movies?
Oh,
where, like,
I know
kids,
you're gonna.
where, like,
bring up.
kids are, like, you know,
This is great.
Thing, and, like, there's, like, we're sitting there watching, like, these paranormal, like, horror movies.
I love the ghost stories. I'm obsessed with the ghost stories. I've had personal experiences. I know a friend, Ghost Adventures, Aaron, who does that kind of thing. So he kind of ruined paranormal ghost movies because.
So let me set it up.
Debunking them or what?
Oh,
No. So I always feel this. You know when you watch, like, these, like, new age, like, horror movies with, like, this doll, and, like, they turn around, like, sort of rocking chair that kind of moves a little bit, and they turn back around, and, like, a book falls, and, like, kind of gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm watching this, I'm just sitting there, I was like, man, I don't know if I'm lazy, but if I was a ghost, I wouldn't, like, invest so much energy into trying to, like, doing these elaborate bullshit plans, you know what I mean? I would just, like, turn the corner, there I am, like, in my tidy waddies, boom, that's your fear, boom. Move out.
Here's
Get out
my
of the
butt
house.
crack.
So while we're sitting there watching, I'm like, I kind of feel like it's like a very like flamboyant friend out there. It's like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do first. I'm gonna have the rocking chair just move just a little bit. I'm gonna start that faucet dripping. It's gonna be drip, 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 I'm gonna slide that rocking chair over, soon slam the door. It's gonna make him jump. It's gonna make him jump. You know, like so I kind of started looking. I was like, I kind of feel like these elaborate ghost, like long, like draw them into like this scary thing.
Are very flamboyant.
Yeah, there's like we're like, well, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna have that picture drop twice.
So we'll watch scary movies, and literally, like, you'll see the rocking chair just ever so slightly, and then I hear JP going,
I'm gonna get him with this first. I'm gonna get him with this next.
just a little bit.
I'm just scared just a little bit.
Just a tiny bit.
See, I haven't gotten into the paranormal stuff.
No,
No, just not my cup of tea. Maybe it's because it is a little too slower.
it's the build up.
Yeah, just, I don't know.
Are you a gore fan?
I don't know. Sometimes, like when Saw had just come out and then Hostel, it's like, okay, man, those were messed up movies.
See,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
talking about like the
super
cheesy like '80s like horror flicks, like where they rip the body in half. Like it's like it's so fake, it's so gory, but it's done so well.
Yeah, I love watching old B-movie scary films and stuff.
Did you notice, though, that on the old movies, while the FX were done, in my opinion, just incredible. I mean, CGI kind of ruined it, I think, for a lot of the cinematography, but the blood color, do you notice there's
Super
a
red.
huge...
It's gotten real dark
It's
lately.
like, yeah, like back in the day, it was this neon kind of red color.
Now it's like this blood needs oxygen.
Yeah, no.
So the reason why was because they wanted it to be almost not lifelike, and that was how they were able to get
Oh,
that
so
to
that was,
movie,
there was
yeah.
the goal. Oh, interesting. See, I didn't know that.
I remember the movie Evil Dead 2. That was one of my go-tos growing up.
That's a good movie.
Which is actually pretty funny with Ash.
Yeah.
He did Army of Darkness after that.
Yeah, that's
You know, this
I
kind of whole
just
role.
remember the chainsaw hand.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good one.
Okay, so would dolls creep you out? The hauntings of dolls?
Dolls
The
creep.
doll
Yeah, they
being
do. I don't
possessed?
know why, because besides Chucky, you've never seen a doll really go in and like throw haymakers and like ruin a family. But yeah, just like that porcelain face and like them just like staring at you. I'm like, close your eyes.
Teresa and I stayed in an Airbnb and had dolls in it. And I was just like, this is how shit starts. This is like
This
the
is
Jake
where
that's
it
evolved,
begins.
you know, like
Yeah.
observant. Like, I don't know if this is the place we want to be.
Have you ever had a scary experience, Jake?
Oh man, you know, like when you get the back of your neck and stuff,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like that. Yeah, you're out in the middle of the woods by yourself, and you're always by yourself, right? And yeah, you just.
But have you ever seen anything?
No,
No?
nothing
Wow.
like that.
Nothing like that.
Mm-mm.
All right. So, you doing anything for Halloween this year?
Staying at the house, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to
A friend's party.
Guy and Mike DeSaries.
A friend's party.
Mm-hmm.
Socially distanced, of course.
Sit masking. Oh yeah.
Absolutely. So you have anything else? What else? What else we got? You think you'd survive a zombie apocalypse?
Do I have a little bit of a heads up, or is it
How
one of
much has
those
that? How much? Well, I mean, think about this.
3 days?
I think a zombie apocalypse. I think now with your phones by your side, you probably have about 2.5, 3 days before it actually all hell breaks loose.
Well, Houston's kind of a huge population.
It is.
So that's the thing, right? Like, if it happens somewhere else, then yeah, you got enough lead time to be like, all right, let's go stock up, and I got a cabin that we can go kind of
And
backpack out.
And
all that
your
stuff.
weapon of choice would be what?
Man, you can only pick one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oof. Mm.
Okay. Good. All right,
How do you kill that? How do you kill him?
well, you kill a zombie like you kill any other zombie.
Is it the head?
It's
Is
the
that for
head.
sure? Do we know that?
No, you hurt their feelings until they walk away.
You're ugly.
Oh man, your skin's
Oh,
rotting. Disgusting.
you're
Well,
so
if there's
gross.
anything
Oh man,
Walking
you
Dead
stink.
taught you,
You stink.
Japanese samurai sword or something like that.
I would do a samurai
Katana,
sword too.
Just because you can't run out of bullets. and
No,
things
and
like
you
that.
just sharpen that thing, and also it looks cool.
If you know how to use it.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter. I think if you go into some deserted town when there's all these people around you, and you pull out a samurai sword, like,
But
well,
why are
this
you
guy
saying-
knows what he's talking
Why
about.
are you saying deserted town? We live in Houston.
Okay, fine. If you walk in a deserted building, all right, and it's like local
It's
claim,
it's overran
this
by zombies.
well, no. I'm saying like this local claim of survivors. They're like, who is this guy? And I'm like,
He's
guys.
setting himself up for succeeding.
I'm just
in
saying-
scenario.
I
Well,
know.
okay, if someone walks in this office right now with a samurai sword, you'd be like, this guy knows what's going on.
But we're not zombies.
But that's the other thing
I would
about the
be
zombie
worried. I'd be like, we
apocalypse.
need to call the cops immediately.
At what
Why
point?
is
At
he-
what? I got a question. At what point after I'm bit would you decide to kill me? And would you kill me?
Did we fight earlier or?
Probably. Probably like, well, we should have gotten the car earlier. Something like that. You should have moved my car first. Something like that, yeah.
Man, I don't know. I love you too much. You're my best friend. So I'd be like, I'd wait till the very last. I'd have to see that change.
You'd have to see the cloud, let the eyes cloud over.
Yeah. Not being your shot of the dad. I'd have him in my shed.
Oh,
just
man.
chained up.
Just
okay.
hanging
You
out.
would, Jake. You would have him like chained in your backyard where it was like, I guess. Can I see my husband?
And then we play it. Yeah, then I could be just playing Xbox every day.
There you go.
That's it.
That's a cute scenario.
So what is your weapon of choice, Monika?
Love and understanding.
Love and understanding. I'd hug everybody. Rainbows and butterflies. No, I'd probably do a machete.
A machete?
Yeah. Just because
Good for close quarters.
Well, because a sword, I feel like it's so long and it's difficult to maneuver.
Okay.
I'm a thinker.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as easy. It's like the baseball bat, but if it gets stuck in the flesh, right? It's harder to retract and all this kind of stuff. So I feel like a machete would be the right amount of metal, and
the metal length will be good in that machete. I agree with that. I think that's probably good. I think it's probably a good safe bet. So anyway, if you had to live in any decade, what would it be? Because I'm closing this up.
I think the 70s.
Mine would be early 80s. Monika?
Man, I don't like this question. I want to be in the future.
20 years from now or 200
No,
years
I
from
want
now?
I want to 200 years from now. I want to
Flying
go.
cars.
Yes, I want deep into the
The
future.
Jetsons.
Just because the past, we already know there's a lot of messed up stuff that's happened in the past.
And plus, in the future, they'll probably have some VR horror movies.
Oh,
Right?
well, they're already doing it with video games, so.
They are doing the video
bring it
games.
on.
You got anything else you want to bring up here, Jake, before we get kicked off and throw them steaks in that sous vide?
I think we're good, man.
All right, man. Well, Jake, Monika, thank you two so much for coming on the Round the Rotary Halloween
We
special.
love you.
And everyone out there, have a safe and spooky Halloween. And next time, Jake's on, we'll try to bring up the other stuff that's going on in the comic and sunshine world. Till then, everyone have a Anyone have any Halloween jokes?
Night.
Oh, dang it. Who's there?
Boo.
Boo-hoo.
Don't cry.
That was going to be my joke.
All right, there you have it. That's Round the Rotary Knock Knock Jokes. All right, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Take care and stay scary.